This is recording, and then Twitch is going, and
action.
Pause. Okay. Cool. Alright. My notes. I'm taking notes.
Wait, do you like your juice? Never mind.
What?
Nothing. I was just asking about your monitor.
Okay. I mean, did you have certain things you just wanted to catch up about or share? I only have this so that this helps my workflow lit for after the fact. I'm alright at remembering stuff, so. Okay. Yeah, man, so like, what was it like for you mentally, like as you were like, leaving here? All the thoughts, if you can recall back.
It's kind of like a difficult question. It's
Okay.
so broad because there's so many like implications, so many states of mind. I feel like the trigger has been intermission.
Okay. Trigger.
Yep. Intermission has been the trigger because over the summer we focused a lot on emotional stuff and also spirituality. So it was like a lot of like connecting and like reflection,
Yeah.
and like inner reflection, like analyzing yourself and where you are, not just yourself but like other people were doing that too. So it was like watching and like being influenced by other people, even if it wasn't like direct and like actually like wanted. So I feel like when you start to reach like a certain level spiritually, you start to be aware of your own bullshit.
Okay. Yeah.
If you get what I mean.
Absolutely.
So it's like, yeah, I'm starting to like eat healthy and like do like think about my actions and all the things that I'm doing wrong and things that I'm doing right. What's positive or what's negative about myself, and you're like right there, and then boom, you realize that there's like, oh, this huge like undealt with trauma and undealt with like, yeah, that you have to address, and it's just like that. I feel like intermission was the biggest trigger for me.
Okay.
So that was like the main reason why I guess I decided to go home.
Also, it like kind of gave you. So okay, so you were able to go through those emotions, and we were like, shit, like I have to go home because of what it gave you. Okay.
Not yes, because it was like, oh, you see other people like working through their own shit, and it's like you give them advice, and you're like, oh, you have to go through you have to like, I don't know, work through it. You have to like face your fears and face your problems. You cannot just like run away from them every single time, so you have to address them. And it sounds really hypocritical if on your, like, you don't do it yourself. It's like, oh, I have my own trauma and my own shit that I have to deal with, but I'm not doing it, but I'm just there telling other people to deal with their own bullshit.
Okay.
So it's like, yeah, it doesn't make any sense, so you just have to like face it, I guess.
Okay. I see. So while that process was happening, did that the idea of going back hit your mind early or like kind of later? Like
at first it was not a radical solution. It was not that solution that I was like envisioning, but it came to be that solution because of how I would not say radical, but how like extreme the symptoms became real quick. Because like in a couple of weeks it turned from like paranoia to like nightmares and like stuff like that. So it was like, okay, like I need to deal with this or I'm not going to be able to move on with my life.
Oh shit. Okay. Yeah. Okay, so you're saying with like, so it really did kind of, intermission really brought you into that place.
Yeah.
In the okay. It's interesting for me to know. I'm like in this space right now where it's not about me, but this is what I've been learning in the past week, and this is like, you know, family. It's family inspired because I've had to deal with some drama, and I'm like, because I had posted something, but like even beyond that, but I had posted something that was like more offensive than like helpful. Like the context is not the greatest, but the intent is.
What are you talking about?
Oh yeah, I see something completely random. So I'm just in a place where I'm trying to decide on how I'm going to project what I'm doing moving forward, and then also to be even more mindful than I have been about helping people. Because I try my best to like just focus on unpacking emotion, and then along the way I'll share like, you know, our stories and what works for different people, and what I've noticed, just because I finally understand and can see for myself that when people, you know, come across me, and if I'm able to impact them, that when they go out and try and improve themselves, that it has obviously both good and bad repercussions, but it's like, can I minimize
the bad?
Yeah, for like them, but then also for how I'm represented. So I'll give you an example, like Justin, and it's funny because I texted him about something, and he was like, that's the funniest thing or the most real thing you've said. So it's like his family sees me a certain way, right? And it's like, that's fair. I'm not mad at that, and I'm empathetic towards it, and I don't have anything towards them. But it's like, well, why? How do we get to that place? And it's like, okay, from a standpoint, it's like, yeah, it almost seems like I'm the cause, or I'm terrible, or I changed this person, or whatever, right? And some of that is true. But the other side is also like how that person is implementing the lessons into their life, and how far they're willing to go, and how empathetic are they going to be along the way. And so I feel like what's missing from a lot of the people who, and that's totally okay, and it's fair, because I try not to put pressure on people to be something that they're not, or to get a certain skill or quality before they can get it, you know? Because it's like, oh yeah, you can do all these things, but you have to make sure you stay empathetic, or like whatever. So it's just like knowing how to craft a conversation naturally, but looking out for their best interest, and trying to be hyper aware of like how it's going to impact them, even though ultimately I believe that you should be allowed to make mistakes and fail, and there is no right or wrong, and people are going to get hurt. Like, I truly believe in that. But yeah, that's just something that, and I know you can't control anything, you know, you can't even control how someone interprets your information. So just then when I start to open up my eyes, my ears to like how I'm being portrayed, I'm like, I understand now. And I'm like, if I was kind of like, if I just had different ideals and I was hearing that someone that I cared about was getting all this stuff and it's like mumbo jumbo, it's like, oh yeah, of course that kid's like, he's an idiot and whatever, and it's like he's crazy, he doesn't live in the real world, like all that kind of stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
Without all of the other context, and then but then that person is representing me, you know.
Yes.
And then they might be biased, and then they have zero empathy towards their family, and I'm like, see, I'm not like that. I'm like, as me, like I try not to be like that. I always try to understand it from the other side, and I agree. Like, so when I had this family meeting, a lot of the points that like parents and stuff brought up, I agreed. I'm like, I agree, and that's not for the sake of agreeing. It's like, no, like I actually agree. Like, you're not wrong. So it's just like navigating through all this stuff, and so that's kind of where I'm at. Just trying to, and the reason I bring that up is because there's intermission, and then I'm out here like, truth's the truth, and I'm like, and that's always gonna be who I am, like, because I think that's important, and then everyone's gonna take it a different way. And like Kevin was like extreme, and then for you, like, you're going through all this trauma stuff, and it's like, but then some others are kind of just like, it's not as effective or whatever. But it's like, is that bad? Is that good? Well, I can't control it, but like, can I be more mindful of it? Is this too much? But like, I don't do the overthinking stuff, you know. I kind of just move naturally, and I really believe in certain things. So now I'm just opening my mind up to the criticism that comes from people who care. So like my family who was like offended by certain things, or my cousin who was like, you know. And then I even had a stream earlier today where I told him about it. Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Oh shit. Yeah, and we broke it down, and
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, okay. I was like, no, yeah, I feel that. So that I haven't gotten time to process any of that stuff, but I know I'm gonna think about it and be more mindful of it instead of, I don't know. But yeah, just because that's a lot. Like, you know, for you, if I did what I did, and then like you were to take it a certain way, it's like, I know I can't control anything, but like some people might have been like, oh, see, like that's too much and that's terrible, and like look at this person. Kevin could be an example. It's like, oh, it's my fault that he.
I don't think it was anything like that though. I know, like, how do you say, people like to make it seem like intermission was like a cult or something like that. But
Yeah.
it wasn't.
Yeah.
It definitely wasn't. For everybody that's watching, intermission was not a cult. It was not.
Yeah.
I think everybody's experience has a lot to do with it. Like, background experience, like personal experience, has a lot to do with how you perceive and how you take stuff.
Yeah, of course.
I mean, like, for me, it was not like you did not start. It was not, you did not. I mean, I won't say you, but intermission did not start my trauma. My trauma was already there, but like I just became aware of it. I won't say aware, but like reacquainted.
Okay.
Is that even a word?
Reacquainted? Maybe. Maybe.
With it, because I have buried it for like the longest time, choosing to ignore, not deal with it, and it just came to a point where I just like had to do it. And I feel like it wasn't just that, but there's a bunch of things that I feel like I had to do, because I'm like the type of person that plans ahead. Like, I plan like 5 years from now, 10 years from now. So like, I did not have any after 20 plans.
Okay.
So like, I did not expect that there would be a point where there would be like an after 20.
Yeah.
So I did not plan after 20. So for me, after 20, everything was just like, go with the flow. It's just, I have no idea what I'm doing, but I'm doing it anyway.
Yeah.
It was that kind of mentality that I had after my 20s. So I just came to a point where I felt like, oh, there is a bunch of things that I have to like revisit, like how I treat myself, how I treat other people, and all that stuff. I have to like replan and rewrite like a bunch of my story.
Okay. Shit. Okay.
But it was a nourishing, fulfilling, scary,
Yeah.
mind-blowing experience.
Yeah.
It was nice. I feel like I got closer with my parents.
Yeah.
Oh
shit. Okay.
We talked a lot more about stuff. Like I had like conversation with my dad about like his life and his experience and like how it was for him growing up and all that stuff, which is something that I've never had.
Yeah.
I've never done before because
Yeah.
I left the house like pretty young.
Yeah.
So it was like, oh, I have like this rich library of like experience that I did not fully utilize. So it was like eye-opening to like listen to his perspective and see things from it was different, and I feel like I've grown and like learned a lot more after doing that, because the thing with trauma is like when you overcome it, you definitely become a better person.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Okay. That's so cool to hear. I mean, because I don't know what is going on, and I just made assumptions that like he seems to be doing better and like more.
Better.
Yeah, better, right? So I don't know what so I'm like super curious to find out and pick your brain about what happened and your journey, and just coming back here. I just kind of like update this casually once I kind of figure out what the topic's gonna be. Let me see, overcoming trauma. All right. Yeah. That's good. Yeah, so like, then what was your entire, as whatever you feel comfortable sharing, like what was your entire, and I'm gonna like dig, but then if you're like skirt, or you just or you miss something because you don't want to talk about it, I wouldn't know. But yeah, so what was your experience there? The good and the bad, the mindset, the different things that you might have done over there. You were there for some time, so
5 months.
yeah, it felt fast.
It felt really fast, actually.
I was like, I felt like kind of like 2 or 3.
It felt really fast. Yeah. 5 months. I feel like the thing that made the biggest change was communication, like talking about it was what like helped me, I don't know, cross the barriers that I had. Like talking about it did really help. Not just talking about it, but talking about it with the right people.
Okay.
Like everybody that was involved.
Yes.
Yes.
So
it made a difference.
Okay. So you got to talk to everybody involved?
I just talked to my mom and my dad.
Okay.
And a couple of other people. But I feel like I shared more with my parents than I did share with other people.
Okay. So I'm assuming they learned things that they didn't know before.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that was the where the struggle began.
Okay.
Because everybody had like a different approach to how to solve that. And I felt like everybody wanted to just how do you say it? everybody just wanted to fix things. I won't say their own way, but like uh fix their guilty conscience, or like fix the places where they felt like they did not live up to the expectation as parents, if you get what I mean.
Wow.
Yeah. Oh, I'm your mom. I'm supposed to be there when stuff like that happens, but I wasn't. So now I'm going to fix it in a certain way. But everybody tried to take steps without like actually like talking about it with me.
Okay.
Like, oh, what is it exactly that you want?
Yeah.
And that was like the hardest part, because I had to like navigate what I wanted with what everybody else wanted at the same time. And it came to a point where I was so fed up and I ran away from my God. Yes, I did. I'm a 22-year-old who runs away from home. Yes, I did run away from home. And then after that, we had like more discussion and more conversation about what I wanted and like what the healing process was going to be, because I feel like all this time all everybody was focusing on is like retribution, like how I'm going to get back at like other people, or like is it like a vengeance thing, but at the end of the day it wasn't that. It was just like me looking for a healing process. So when we came up to that conclusion that what I needed was like healing instead of just like getting even with people, everything started falling in place. We went to see a therapist as a family. We discussed with people and we had like conversation, and it was like teary, people apologized and all that stuff. So it was like that kind of feel. So yeah, it made sense at that moment. And I started forgiving people.
Oh, nice.
Without like, I feel like that was the hardest part, and I feel that was what was holding me back. Started forgiving, letting go of stuff, and I started feeling better.
That's really cool. I don't hear people say forgive often, or people have a really hard time with that.
What made sense to me about forgiving people is that when you reach that point, you realize that you're not forgiving them. You're not doing it because you're trying to forgive them. But you're doing it for yourself, because the minute you forgive, like there's just like a weight that just like boom, and you're like, wow, I feel so good right now, and I don't have to deal with this. It's just, it feels really good to be like free of like resentment and anger and like, it's not a good feeling. So I went through the process of forgiving. Now I know how to forgive. I knew how to forgive, but I'm like better at it.
That's so cool. Oh shit. So how was your, like, what did you do, whether it was in your mind or physical activity or a combination of so many things, to bring you to the place of forgiveness? I'm super curious about that, because it's different for everyone. Like, I'm super mental, so I'm just like, and I'll read stuff and I'm like logical and I try to get certain information in my head. Then I'm like, I F's with that, and then I adopt, and then that's it.
There was like a bunch of things.
Okay.
So right before I left here, I was reading this book. Right, it's called The Way of Choices. And it's so weird because the book is about, it's like a Chinese book. It was written in Chinese and was translated in English. It's like wuxia is like action, but like deal with like cultivation of mind and like fighting and all that stuff. But it's like the whole story is like fantasy, but it's so ingrained in like principle of Buddhism and like Taoism and like all those like deep religious thinking. So it's all about like how like your choices impact like your life on the long run. And the main character is just like this really like passive person that's just like has been used by everybody his whole life just to accomplish like their own agenda. So he's just like there, but like being reactive to everything. Like not saying anything, but like he's just like, I want to say, he just like just let shit happen to him. And until he realized that he was at a point in his life where he could not do it anymore, because if he allowed like other people to make choices for him, he was going to die at some point. And he realized that all his life everybody has been making decisions for him, so it was the time for him to make decisions. And just the way of this is why it's called the way of choices. So you always had two options, and you're always like, what do I do? And just like picks one. It's like, okay, this is my like Naruto says, this is my Nindo, this is my ninja way. It's just like, I pick this choice, and whatever the consequences are, I'm just going to stick by them all the way to the end. But every single time you realize that even the choices he picks just makes him like a really like passive person, because he's still reacting to like he's still like letting shit happen to him even by making choices. So it's like making a choice like it's actually like an illusion, because you don't usually really have a choice, because everything is like kind of written. Even when you think you're making like a proactive action, like that proactive action has already been like thought of and decided by a higher up person. Kind of shit. And at the end of the day, he came to the realization that the best choice that he could make for himself and like for everybody that he's like he feels like resentment and like hatred against, is just to like let go. And like the minute he started letting go of everything, like there was no like wire of destiny again. There was no like control anymore. Nobody was controlling him anymore, because he made the choice to just like let everything go. So it's like that idea of like letting go as the third choice, because it was always like he always had two choices. Like, oh, how do I deal with this? Like, do I fight or do I not fight? And it was just like third choice, which is just like just forget everything. And which is what I did. I feel like, oh, that's really interesting. Forgive, just let go of everything is the solution to all your trouble. Forgive people if you can. It's like the best. But you have to get to a certain place to be able to forgive. It's not like an immediate and like direct thing. Like, you do not go to a person that is like they're suffering from a trauma and be like, forgive. That does not work that way. You have to reach a certain level to realize that forgiveness is just what you need to be able to move on with your life. So that's the enlightenment I've reached.
That's so cool. Oh my gosh. Okay. Carla's here.
Oh, hi Carla.
She did say, yes, I agree. I don't know what she agrees on. And I don't know if she's still here, because this thing is not telling me, but what up, Ashley? Okay. That's really cool. I like that you like straight up was like, it's from a book.
It is from a book. Reading is bae.
So I guess after forgiveness and finding that for yourself. So what was after?
After that, I had to deal with the resentment from other people.
Okay.
Because what I did was I did expose like a bunch of like hidden things.
Okay.
I was not quiet. I was really loud.
Yeah.
And I made a lot of people unhappy. So it became like a really unsafe environment for me. Someone tried to run me over with a car. I've been stabbed by a needle like really close to my heart, and it became really scary. And that's when my parents like sent me to like Africa, where I had like this awesome internship.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, because the environment became like really, really unsafe. Because I made a lot of people unhappy. But it was like, it's fine. I'm okay with it.
I really hope people understand that, and like I go back and forth with certain things like that, like, and this is just a parallel, like what I was saying earlier about how when I play any amount, like any role, right, if I'm able to impact someone, and people make decisions and stuff, and you had said that you know, went at people and you were loud and they weren't happy about it, and that's like sometimes necessary.
Yes.
You know, and I do try and tell people to stick through that, and then whoever they end up doing that with, and they end up hurting that person or whatever, and there's that correlation between that person and me, I'm okay with that, but it's like, it's just, yeah, I don't know, it's just interesting, and it's different.
My philosophy is that you can't make everybody happy.
Yeah,
You have to make the decisions for yourself. At the end of the day, it's like, what is it that works better for me? Because if you have to be a little selfish, like a tiny bit, not too much, but just a little bit, for you to be able to like survive in this world. If you have to take into account like everything everybody else is going to think or do, you're just not going to live for yourself. And that's important. I'm not saying like you should walk around like trying to hurt everybody. Like, that's not the goal here. But if the choice that you had to make for yourself to be able to like reach a higher level or a higher level of understanding of yourself and like feel peace of mind has to like break someone's heart just a little, just do it. It's worth it. It definitely is, because once you make that decision for yourself, you're not just doing like a service yourself, but you're also doing a service to that person, because you're being honest and you're being truthful to them. So when like they go and they calmly and like go over like whatever it is the situation is, you're going to realize that you were not wrong at that moment or at that point in time. Yeah.
I agree. It's just been a while that I've kind of been in a situation like this, but it's good to hear people's input, and it's still like, you know, everyone's perspective is so different on things like this.
Yep.
Okay, so I guess you can talk to us about the internship.
Oh. Yeah, that shit was cool. I work with UNICEF. So it was like a program where we had to like travel into like really rural places, and we worked with kids with like needs and like help them with like technology and stuff. So like places where they don't have electricity and like kids cannot study at night, and we have to like come up with like an idea to help them study. Like solar backpacks, that shit was so fun. You had to make backpacks with like solar plates that could just like store energy, and like late at night like they could just like turn off the lights and like do homeworks and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And we had like a bunch of like cool designs like that throughout the whole process, so it was really really fun.
Yeah.
Except that it was exhausting and the pay was crappy. But it was fun.
Yeah.
And it was like a really fulfilling experience. It's like it was really zen, because every time you like help someone and you're like, oh, they're so happy. I'm like, wow. Yes, this is what I would. It was like that. It was really like calming. The process of like helping other people and like getting a thanks and like a smile back and like for it was worth it, if you get what I mean. Yes. And it also helped me understand like how privileged like I am, like other people in my life are, because like something as basic as electricity was like, I cannot picture myself living without electricity. But there's just like people who don't live with who don't have electricity, like never.
Yeah.
And it's like, and they're so amazed when they see the light. I'm like, what do you mean? So yeah, it made me appreciate like a lot of things, and like be thankful for like the gift of life. Because I feel like I haven't been thankful enough about being alive. To me, there's always been like how do you say it? I feel like it has always been a curse for me. I first really did not like that aspect on myself. Like the fact that I've been filled with grief like for the longest time. It's like I started like I was 12 when my little brother died, I think. And after that, I feel like everybody else that like has mattered at some point in life like have died along the way. Like everybody I've like met and I'm like really close to like have died along the way. So like I'm really like, I have like I won't say a love-hate relationship with that, but like it's not a concept that is like really strange to me. Like the concept of dying, like something I'm like really like accustomed to. Like oh, someone's dead. I'm like, oh, he's dead. Cool. It's not something that shocks me anymore. It's like oh, it's like something that I have accepted, and like it's like a part of like my, I won't say my everyday life, but like it's like a really common thing around me. So I'm like so like life for me was just, I've always thought of it like, well, it can end at any point, at any moment. So like it's just like never really like, you know what I'm saying, like took it like extra seriously. It was just like whatever, we're just there, like when it's over it's gonna be over type of thing. But like that experience was like helped me realize how like precious it was for other, like watching other people. That like made me realize how actually precious it is, and how much of a gift it is. Like different lifestyle, like people who have to walk like 5 miles or like 4 miles to get like fresh water or like stuff like that, and it's like it's totally different opposite from like what I know. But like you just see them with like really like smiley and happy and like enjoying every goddamn day of their lives. So like if I lived in those conditions, like in my head would be worse than Syria. Like I would just be completely pissed and like angry the whole time. But it's just like whatever, they're just living, and like they're living super happy, and it was a really like a moment of epiphany, if that's the word.
I love hearing stories like that. Hey Joe. Hopefully you got to hear some of that. Damn. So when did that end?
December 5th.
Okay.
We're still fresh.
yeah.
It also helped me figure out what I wanted to do with my masters.
Okay.
Because for like the longest time I was like, I want to do this and I want to do that. And
Yeah.
I finally made a choice. So now I know exactly what I don't want to do. Okay.
So which is, at least that what you don't want to do.
Corporate job. I don't want to have a corporate job. I fucking hate myself if I had a corporate job. A 9 to 5 sounds so boring.
Yeah. Definitely depends on what it is.
Oh, doesn't matter. I'll still be bored. I need something like that has a lot of traveling involved because I love that. A lot of handwork too. And as long as I don't have to sit for like 8 hours a day, I'll be fine with whatever.
Okay. So then you know for sure that you're not into that stuff.
I'm not
into
that.
Okay. I guess 2 things, and then the other 2 things I picture are like 2.5. So nonprofit work, charitable work, and then like or freelance stuff, entrepreneurial. I see those 3.
Yeah.
So like, is that more?
I mean, that has always been the goal. Like, non-profit has always been the goal. Like,
okay.
Since I don't know, I just love helping people. It's part of who I am.
Yeah.
It's just, I'm like that. I'm like, since I was a kid, if you ask me what do you want to do with your life, I want to open an orphanage. That's all I wanted to do my whole life, and I still do. So I'm like, non-profit is like a big part of like whatever it is that I'm going to do. Every time I get pissed off at school, I'm like, can I just drop this and like go to Syria, help kids? Can I just drop this and like travel to Syria? Yeah. Non-profit is definitely something I want to do, and also like make technology more accessible to people.
Okay.
And I definitely want to move to Africa because it's like a virgin like territory for technology. There's like so many like possibilities open there, like to what you can do.
So with the tech aspect, like, are you into tech in that way technically, or do you just want to be able to like be a part of the process of like?
Oh, actually, I'm into tech, like making tech.
Okay.
So I'm obsessed with making tech.
Okay.
So I want to be able to make tech, but like not just like make it, like like the tailor to you type of tech. If you get what I mean, like, oh, I hear like super like, I hear a lot higher on my left ear than I do my right ear. Okay. So I'll make like headphones for you that are like super loud on the left, but like not loud enough on the right. I'm into that kind of stuff. Like, I'll be a tech doctor.
Okay. That's so cool.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. A tech doctor. Wow. Dude.
Just make technology like specific to you.
Yeah.
Like the kind of stuff that only you will find like pleasure using.
Yeah.
That's the kind of shit I'm into.
Dude, I've never heard that before, but that's pretty sweet. So Joanne, you know Joanne.
Yeah.
Yeah, she said, because I asked her, I don't know how long she's been here for, but she said she pooped in, caught the end, sounded like appreciation for life. She said pooped to laugh my ass off, I meant popped in. But you know, I love poop talk too. LOL. Yeah, pooping is her favorite thing to do.
Really?
Yes.
She should make belly.
I mean, I think she knows who Billy is.
Yeah.
Wakanda Tech. Carla, I guess you can. Oh my gosh. Dude, I love when people talk about ideas because then my brain fires in like
Same.
Entrepreneurs, just like and all this different stuff you can do. Because, oh my gosh. Because you could, do the thing and like document, crowdfund, or get grants or whatever it is. Be like, oh, he just makes unique tech for everybody.
Right.
Well, here's like an investment or like crowdfund. Like we support him and we want to see the process and then the interaction and how it's affect their lives. That's kind of like where my mind went. I'm like, oh my gosh, that's so cool. So that's like truly the ultimate, or do you believe? And I'm asking in the sense of like, I've had enough conversations and enough self-reflection. I do it all the time now, to kind of understand the difference between this would be great and I know I want to do this, or I think I want to, and then there's just like having an uncompromised calling where it's like, this is what I'm supposed to do. I can't hear or see anything else. There's that, and I haven't met many people like that. And so, yeah, I'm just wondering.
Yeah, people like that are actually golden. Like people who know exactly what they want to do and like they're just like, it's this or nothing.
Yeah.
I really respect. I am not an unreasonable person.
Yeah.
I know how to compromise.
Yeah.
And I feel like that would be ideal.
Okay.
That would be ideal, but I don't think that would be like anything like soon.
Yeah.
If you get what I mean.
Absolutely.
Because like I still need the experience. I still need like other stuff.
Yeah.
Before I could reach that point.
Yeah.
So that would definitely be the ideal. But that's not like the only thing, and that's not like, I don't know. And I'm allowed to change my mind. I'm bipolar as fuck. I change my mind on. I can like you 5 minutes and like 5 minutes later not like you at all.
Yeah.
So right now it's what I want, and it might change because I might discover something that I want more. I'm not.
That's great. Okay. So after the internship ended, it's January 20th now. So like, what's happened from then since up until now?
I'm going to grad school Tuesday. That's the only positive thing. No. After grad school, what has happened? My puppy died.
Oh shit.
I know. I mean, it was old. It was not a puppy anymore. But it was so cute. It was still a puppy.
Yeah.
What else? I got a new place, which is cool. My room is like teal and pink, and color choices. I know, redefining myself.
Yeah.
Moving away from black.
Yeah.
What else? I made myself a promise to do like personal projects with every single one of my friends. Nothing like really big, but like just something special. It's like a one-on-one thing.
Yeah.
Because over the break, one thing I realized, I call it a break because it's a break from my life.
Yeah.
I call it a break. Over the break, I realized that I had a lot of like involvement with like different people, but it was a lot of it was just like superficial.
Okay.
At some point, I could not remember. I'm like, I can remember like you, but I cannot remember doing anything specific or like anything interesting with you. Like, I know you are into like this, but like that's about it. Like I had no like deeper involvement with people, and like it's all coming from like a bunch of like backstory, like me not being able to open up with people and like all that stuff. But like this is something I'm trying to overcome right now, like having deeper connections with people, not just like superficial. And I feel like working on stuff that matters to both of you, well, it just helps like open up and like understanding the person a little better. And I feel like I want to understand more people. I feel like I've been shut down from like opening up with people. Like people used to come to me for like all their problems and like all their shit and like all the stuff. Like I'm really good at giving advice. I'm really good at like listening and like talking with people. But like at some point, I just became like, "Hi Toby, bye." "Hi Toby, bye."
Yeah.
So I just like cut it short with a lot of people because like I remember talking to you about this, like how I am really susceptible to like other people's energy.
Yeah.
Like when they feel bad, like I'll feel bad too. When they're like sad, I'll feel super sad too. So just like I just didn't want to deal with like that as a whole. So I just cut a lot of like deep conversation with people. Like all my conversation would just be superficial. But I feel like now I'm ready to like open up a little more and like starting to understand like other people and like helping them a little more. So I'm just like trying to make personal projects with all my friends, cool things. I started with Charlie. We're going to work on like an art project together. We're still deciding on the specifics, but I know it's gonna be cool.
Oh, that's so cool. That's inspiring. I'm thinking about that. My only little form of that has been, I don't really have a relationship with this person. Let me reach out and just see if we could talk. That's like my version of it.
Yeah.
But I really like that a lot, actually.
Yeah, like personal projects.
Yeah.
On like stuff that matters to both of us. Hi, Kyle.
How was it?
I'm glad you're done. I just gotta finish this.
Oh shoot.
Sleep over.
Okay.
Was the snow like really hard?
Actually, it wasn't that hard, but it was like it was a lot.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Well, if there's any left over, I'll shovel on Monday. Woo! Okay. Personal projects. Okay. Grad school. I don't know what time it is. Okay. Were there any specific things now? I mean, you're already kind of like in the flow, but if there's anything you wanted to specifically say or ask.
I don't know. None that I can think of.
Okay.
I'm just I'm shy.
It's okay. I'm just letting anything come into me right now.
Yeah, dancing. I miss dancing.
You haven't danced?
Not like I haven't taken any classes, or I mean over the break, not taking any classes. Not I did choreograph a lot of like deep emotional, sad, depressing stuff. That probably never gonna see the light of the day. But it was cool.
Yeah.
I got more acquainted with the healing aspect of dance.
Okay.
It didn't make sense until it did. Like, also figure out what I want to do with dance. Like how, like the direction I want my dancing to take. Yeah. Probably not joining another team. At least not anytime soon.
Mm-hmm.
But I still want to do like dancing, choreographing. I just adore choreographing.
Mm-hmm.
What else do I want to do? A lot more video project. I feel like I have a lot to say.
Same.
I feel like I have a lot to say, like, and I haven't found like, the proper medium to say it and loud enough. If you get what I mean.
Yeah.
Like, it's just not like a word to word type of stuff, but it's just like a bunch of emotions that need to be shown. And I've been getting back into like drawing and painting, writing a lot too, but it's not enough.
Yeah.
I feel like I need something bigger.
Yeah.
If you get what I mean, it's like I feel like I'm at that point where I just want to scream, but like I can't scream. It's like that.
Okay. So you think dance is gonna be the thing?
I hope so.
Okay.
I hope so. Cause like I'm going to use it as like an outlet. I'm going to like try it out.
Yeah.
Like see if it like works. But I hope so.
Yeah, I feel that. What about making music? I'm sure you thought about that.
I did think about that, but yeah, I'm just a bit. I think people should just stick to what they're good at. I am good at criticizing music. I'll just stick to that instead of actually. I feel like it would just be a load too much for me to not to handle, but like it would be too much on my plate. Like, and now I have grad school. I'm trying to get back into like drawing and all that stuff while I have dancing. So it's like hobbies are good, but too many hobbies are bad.
Yeah.
You need to I need to focus on like something and like make it like the main thing.
Understand.
And I feel like making music is not something you can half-ass. I like music a lot and I respect it a lot. So like you just have to put your time and heart into doing it. And I don't think I have the time and the heart to do it.
Yeah. I understand.
Yeah, I'll just let other people make music. I'll just like dance to it and criticize it the whole time.
Yeah. Okay. Dope. So what's your time been like being back here?
First it was like it's been like what 2 weeks now. Today it's been 2 weeks today. Moving in, like decorating my apartment. It looks homey now. I have BTS posters everywhere. It's the cutest thing ever. And setting up, like updating my resume, looking for like other type of jobs, getting ready for school. What else? Oh, going out with Kevin.
Heard about that. I didn't hear about it, but I heard that you guys are gonna go out together.
Yeah, we went out like twice already.
Yeah.
It's been fun.
Yeah.
Interesting experience. Interesting group of people. Reconnecting with people like that I haven't seen in a while. I had the greatest conversation with Artem last time.
Really?
The conversation went like this, right? He got into the car. He was like, hi. Oh, you're back. Yes. Cool. That was the greatest conversation ever.
Oh man, he's funny.
He's hilarious. Yes.
Or the color of her name changed. Sounds accurate. LOL.
What else? I'm taking 6 classes.
That's a lot.
That's a fucking lot. But the way I'm going about it is just like start the semester and like look at the classes that I like and the one that I don't like,
Yeah.
and then drop them.
Mm.
That's how I'm going about it.
Okay.
But it's a lot. It's a fucking lot. My nights are so busy.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to teach a workshop for prototype. I'm pretty excited about that. I love teaching. That's been it. It's been pretty boring. I mean, I won't say boring, but like calm and steady so far.
Yeah. Okay. That's cool. I feel that. That's dope, man. That's wild. That's like, I mean, I just still remember summer stuff and my interactions with you, and then just seeing it change. It's just so cool. That's just kind of like how life is, and it's nice to see people come ways, and knowing that like the how crucial it is to focus on health and healing, self-development. It's not common. It's like, it's common in my world because of how I'm projecting myself, so I get a lot of that. But as soon as I interact with people who are just not in that realm, the conversation's totally different. And people, like, they change so fast, but it's cool. So I'm just happy for you. I'm grateful. Yeah. I mean, I don't know how much you remember from, like, I mean, because I know you know your story, and I still remember, like, you know, the few interactions and just, like, the tonality and the energy that you had and whatnot, and how it's changed. So.
Did it change a lot?
Yeah.
What did it change?
Well, like, I was shook that you even opened up to me on any level.
Oh.
So that was the first thing. I was like, oh, he's telling me stuff. Oh, shit, right? And then even with, like, you know, those things with, like, the curse stuff and, like, death and all that, and your perception at the time. And I'm like, fuck. Like, and then, like, I only know as much as I know, but, like, what can I really do besides be a friend, you know? And then be like, oh, detox, like, or there's hope, you know? Like, that was kind of it. To then things kind of having a ripple effect into your entire journey. And I guess when you had talked about, like, you, because you weren't surface level with me, but I felt like, maybe I'm wrong, but you just also couldn't throw your whole self at me emotionally, even though I was like, you knew that I'm, like, cool with it, right?
I feel like I feel like a lot of people cannot handle.
Sorry. It says, look here, look, listen, appearing offline does not stop it. I have no idea what you're talking about. Go ahead.
I feel like a lot of people cannot handle, like, my emotional baggage. It's just, like, fucking too much for no reason. I'm like, sometimes I ask myself, like, okay, was I Hitler in a past life? I'm like, what? But that's why it's, like, a little hard for me to, like, completely be like 100% open with people about my experience. It's like whatever you think about, like whatever you feel like, oh, it's like it's like bad for me. Like I probably have experienced that at some point or like some degree.
Yeah.
To some level. So it's like I have like a wide range of experience with like trauma, all kind of trauma.
Yeah.
So it's like, yeah, I feel like I just have too much. So I don't like to burden people with my stuff all the time. So I'm just usually just quiet about my experience. Yeah.
Okay.
That's why it was hard for me to like open up in the summer. But like I think I've already said this over the summer. Like intermission was just like a collection of people who were like at some point in their life where they needed something different. It was just like they just needed like a change, like whatever that change was. That's why everybody was in intermission at that point. I think I've said this before, and it felt that way. It definitely did feel that way because everybody was just looking for something different, and that's why we all like just ended up there. It was just like a collection of like lost soul. People needed like to find purpose into something, or like I don't know, find themselves in like a different light, or like reflect on stuff, or like heal, or whatever it is that they were looking for. Like definitely everybody was looking for something, like ending up in that team at that moment. At least that's how it felt like.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay.
It was an interesting experience. It definitely was. Because you're like, so he did throw a lot at us, like from the get go.
I don't even remember what I did. Like I remember like very few things.
I was like, I don't even remember what that exercise was, but it was like, I think it was the questions where we had to ask, like, have a conversation with like random people and ask like deep emotional questions, like and like as a completely reserved person. You're like, oh, hi, my name is Toby. Like, what's your name? My name is X. Oh, yes, I used to cut myself. I'm like, okay, that's deep. That's interesting. Okay, go on. Yeah, I'm like, what am I supposed to do with all this information? It's really like, wow, it's good that you are here now and that you don't cut yourself anymore, I hope. Interesting.
Yeah.
So it was a little like that.
Yeah.
So it was like a lot at some point, but it was nothing that I could not handle. Definitely not. I've seen worse.
Yeah. Okay.
So it was okay. Interesting experience. Definitely interesting experience. Like, definitely my top 10 of like most interesting experience.
Okay. Top 10. That reminded me of something. I ran the anonymous exercise once on my students, and they're all emotional and shit. And some parents were cool with it, and some weren't. Right. The director was cool with this, so that's all that matters. But she had said, like, you know, some parents expressed concern, like, you know, like, what am I supposed to do with this child who's like crying? I mean, that's one thing, but what it made me think about was like, and then even my recent family thing, where it's like offering a solution, like during the process of intermission. I'm really into the concept of unpacking and deconstructing.
Yeah.
But I'm not trying to necessarily tell people what to do.
I don't think it was any of that though.
Which one?
Telling people what to do.
Yeah,
I think everybody did stuff in their comfort zone. I don't think anybody like felt like they were forced to do anything they didn't want to do. If you
Yeah.
get what I mean.
Yeah.
Everything was consensual. Like you could have like opt out without like having to feel any kind of pressure because the environment was not like that. You could have opted out if you felt like, okay, this is just fucking too much for me. I'm not participating in this or that. I think nobody would have felt like it was necessary to do it.
Yeah.
But then again, I understand the aspect with children or like kids. It's really hard because like they're like at a point where they still don't know much about themselves.
Yeah.
So I feel like that would be like a little too much to handle for a child, in my opinion.
Yeah. Yeah, I did it on a bunch of preteens and teens. And the cool thing though was that like maybe 10 minutes in, they started to talk and open up and share, and I was like, okay, like they're sharing their experiences to be like, you're not alone, and like I'm going through this and this is what I've done to kind of overcome. So like, and that's what my hope is. And then I guess from where I've been standing for a while, I'm like, oh, like that's kind of enough, because I just want people to reflect on themselves, and it's not always easy. But then it makes me think like, oh, like maybe am I not wrapping up well? Should I kind of leave people with something at the end? Did I not do that during intermission, or did I? Like I don't remember.
It's like, yeah, like it's kind of like the consequences of the thing, because whatever it is, like sharing, like unpacking, whatever is definitely like an emotional process.
Yeah.
And it's like going to affect people, like regardless of whatever you say or whatever you do. So it's like the question is the how it does affect the person, and the how also depends on the person and their experience.
Yeah.
I don't think like there's like something you could do to like, I don't know, like stop them from like crying or
Yeah,
like,
obviously I'm cool with that. Like it's always like outside people's opinions.
yeah, it's like you have to like experience it to be able to like understand it, if you get what I mean. It's like going to like an AA group, like anonymous alcoholic, or
Yeah.
where you like talk about your experience like with something, and then there are people to relate to you and like give you advices. It feels like that, if you get what I mean. So it's like if you're not like an alcoholic, and you would not understand the appeal, like the need to go to like those kind of like group like talks and all that stuff, because group talks like help you realize one thing is that, one, you're not like the only one that is in a fucked up situation, or like whatever situation it is, and the second thing is that your situation is not the worst.
Yeah.
It like helps like you realize that your situation is not the worst, and it's like the most fucked up situation. But if you're not an alcoholic and you go to an AA meeting, you're like, what are these people talking about? Because you do not understand. So it's like definitely that. If you don't experience it, like you cannot have an objective opinion about it.
Okay, that's kind of like what some people were saying too. Okay.
You cannot understand. It's part of the experience. You have to experience it to be able to understand.
Yeah. Someone said hi, but let's see who it is. Jesse. Oh, hello, Jesse. How you doing? Okay. Gonna check in on Jeffrey, see if he says anything.
Wait, we have 2 hours yet?
No.
I'm like, wait, time flies too fast. A little.
Obviously, the roads aren't bad.
We covered.
I'm going with this first. Perfect. Yeah,
Oh, she's being smart. She's doing a giveaway. Smart ass. I see you, Jessica. Cool.
You just use those cups.
Alright. Love getting insight.
I won't be back too late though. Need anything?
Huh?
Need anything else?
Interesting.
Headphones are on the chair.
Carla was like, Monica is there?
Yes, ma'am. I'm trying to risk my life tomorrow.
I have to teach. Got a choreograph still. Yeah.
What do you have to read?
Huh?
What do you want? What are you teaching?
This is just a specialty group for studio. I gotta make a mix though. I don't know.
Oh, never mind. You're just cuddling Stitch and it looks so cute. Aww. Can I risk someone's life and order banchan? That's what the ones aren't that bad.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not that bad outside.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, if you want to give me some fries.
Yeah, I'll put it out.
Hell
If
yeah.
I had fries yesterday,
Yeah, I didn't get to eat them.
You didn't eat
I was so into the
Somebody
conversation.
ate his fries, so I'm gonna- Oh.
Um, covered a lot. Trying to my space is going. Projects, work, school. Any other random things just enter your mind besides all the stuff we covered for your life? Outside of what you've talked about already?
Something I actually wanted to talk about with you.
Okay.
How about like death and afterlife? This is more like a philosophical thing.
Okay.
Not has anything to do with like whatever.
Okay.
So, what do you think happens after you die? In your opinion.
I believe I'm starting to believe like two separate things, and I don't know. Like I believe we never die. I think we kind of just and then we become part of everything, and then eventually we become this thing again. I believe in that, but then I also believe in being spirit and just being up there. And the reason I believe that is because of some of
where?
Oh, just I don't know, like around that have more powers that can see, and I feel like people or spirits or whatever that I'll call them spirits, like whether they are just overseeing and can see it all already planned, or if they're influencing and kind of playing with what's happening down here, because of things that I've heard from other people, and then talking to psychics and the accuracy behind some of the stuff, and then being able to like connect with people from the past, and then other people with like connecting to their past life, and like parallels and correlations. So I believe in that there's stuff going on up there, and we become a part of that. So like one instance was like with my stepdad passing, and like he had a message from my mom, but the psychic was able to channel it and send it over to me. But like he doesn't know about my dad. So it's like there's a person, and they're holding like a thing in the hospital, and a man, and like that, and it's like describing him, right? And it's like he could speak Khmer and English. So, and I was like, who else? So stuff like that. And it's not just like him, like that one instance, but like with psychics in general, like like how, and for me to see or feel the legitimacy is like, it's almost like when we're inspired or like on fire in our passion or in the zone, and you see that with them, they're not like here, but they're like somewhere else, and if they're receiving information, and then the parts that are like freaky are when they ask a very specific question or bring on a certain name or a number that is extremely relevant to you. Or they'll be like, oh, so what happened on da 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 da, and then they'll be like, how did they know that? So I think I also believe in, because of my family and the children, the younger children who have been born in the past decade are all reincarnated, because the tendencies that they share with what they wanted in their past life or who they were in their past life have been passed on to this kid. And then the birthmark spots or scars or whatever are in the same location or on kind of like the opposite side. So like this one baby in our family, in her previous life, the grandma was like, oh, I hope that I want to be able to speak English in my next life. This baby comes out, and mind you, this household is like, super old school Cambodian. Every child in that house will learn how to speak Cambodian, Khmer. And this kid comes out, English, 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 and I'm like, that's pretty weird. And then they have like a similar spot, a birthmark or whatever. And then another child, her name is Mei Li, and there was something with like some death happened over in Cambodia with like my cousin's grandma or something like that, and she really wanted to be a part of what was happening with this family or something like that. I forget the full story, but the main thing was that the child, or like she really loved a certain types of food and like fish and stuff, and so then when they had their kid, this baby like straight up loves all the same things, and I'm just like, but the parents don't like that stuff at all. They don't eat it. so it's like they only make it for their kid, right? So just instances like that where I'm like, all right, and it's more than the two occurrences that I talked about. So I believe in reincarnation when they decide like, hey, I feel like I want to come back, and then every time, and I'm hearing from the adults and stuff, like when someone wants to be reincarnated, they have to come to you in a dream and they ask permission, and if you deny them, then they have to go find a different home, right? So, and then even so, like with my dad, for example, when he had like straight up like passed in like the day of or day after or something like that, he came into a dream of one of my family members who had a kid like maybe 2 years ago or something like that. She was like, can I stay with you? As in, because he wants to look after us and be here for us physically and whatever. And I forgot. Obviously, the answer wasn't yes, but I don't think she said no either. Maybe she was like, yeah, I don't know what's going on, right? So, then just learning stuff about monks, spirituality. I started questioning. I was like, okay, what are they preaching? Why are they here? What are we doing? I started to really question all the religious stuff that we do as Buddhists. And truthfully, like a lot of us younger ones, meaning like 40 and under, have no idea what's going on. Like my mom just doesn't know. She's kind of just following the rules. And straight up, the ones who guide are like the older people. It's like it's so like just passed down like we're supposed to do this, but not knowing
why
ultimately like why and being connected to that, right? So I'm listening and I'm learning like from the broken things that I can understand, and asking. I'm like, okay, so they're talking about detachment. They're talking about if you can't let go, then their spirit can't move on, right? And they're gonna keep suffering, and because you're suffering, and they want to be here for you. So it's like, oh, detachment. Oh shit. Okay, all this stuff about helping guide a spirit and helping them find peace and recognize that you have passed, and we don't want you to wander around and be lost and confused or whatever. So we're gonna do all these ceremonies and have these candles and like. So you recognize that you're gone, do what you need to do as a spirit, and then I hope that you find peace and you can detach yourself and move on in peace. But if there's still emotionally attached, let's say like, oh, like don't cry, you can't show your emotions, And so then when we had to become monks and stuff, it's like there were certain rules. We couldn't get intimate. We couldn't, give hugs. We couldn't have fun. We couldn't express our emotions. So there was so many rules, and now it's like, oh, it's because we just have to be like this. It almost sounds like a robot, but more so just like we're at peace, and to truly find that for ourselves, so that someone else can move on. And then I was like, why are we all here? Is this why we're here? To just be like this, right? I'm like, why is a monk here? Is he because if you attend a temple regularly, then that's kind of what they're preaching, or if that's their mission, and if it's like the truth, it's like, is that what we're all here to do? And then all my other things started coming along, like spirituality, being one, and like we're all the same actually once we're able to kind of reach this place. So are we just all destined to be monks, to follow the Buddhist thing and to find peace, and to be like, once it's all over, we're like, phew, and then we transcend, we're at peace, we move away from earth because we've let go of our attachments, and we can go to whatever the hell's next. So I started like hitting all these different places, right? Because it started to connect the dots and stuff for me. And I was like, interesting, very interesting. So I believe we become spirits, and we have a choice. But I don't know what happens when you're like, you know what, I ain't trying to be here anymore, I'm good, and then you bounce. I do, because I think about like demons and fucking lost souls, and like when you watch like movies and stuff, right? And that's literally all it is. Or like Ouija boards and like angry spirits. But then you're like, well, that thing used to be a person, right?
At some point.
Right? And so you're like, okay, well, what happened? And then in every movie, you're like, oh, they were murdered, or they had a mental problem, or like, yeah, they were taken out. Or even in freaking Madoka Magica, the anime, which is such a fucked up anime, and I love it. It's like the same shit. It's like vengeance and anger, and they're lost, and because no one helps them find their peace. And maybe they don't know they're dead, or whatever. It's like they've just been abandoned, or like the movies where it's like, oh my god, it's scary, but then all the ghost person thing is trying to show you what happened and to solve an issue, and then to help put them to peace. And I'm like, because it's, and then it goes back to living a life unfulfilled. If you felt like you lived this life unfulfilled, homie, you coming back until you finish, until you learn all the lessons you need to learn, or you're completely satisfied and you've learned to move on, and there's nothing left for you here.
Yep.
And then I think about Avatar, and I think about all that shit, and I'm just like, oh my god, I haven't had this kind of discussion in so long. But it comes to me in pieces. I don't always hardcore, like, I haven't been into spirituality in a while. It just kind of comes in doses, and realizations and epiphanies and stuff, and theories that people have, movies. That's my thoughts.
I've been thinking about this like a lot. I mean, I think about this like my whole life, but like recently, like I was thinking about like grief, like how to help people overcome grief. Like how did I overcome grief, and how to help like other people like overcome like grief. Because I have a friend that recently lost like boyfriend. Okay. So she's like completely lost. Threatened to commit suicide like every goddamn day. Like not eat, or like the polar opposite. She'll like wake up today and like go party like crazy, and then come back, and I'm like, I want to help you, but I have no idea how.
Yeah.
It's like I do have experience with like grief, but I absolutely cannot tell you anything. I haven't learned jack shit from my experience. The only thing I know is that it hurts.
Yeah.
And that's it. I cannot tell you that it goes away, because it never does.
Yeah.
Are you going to feel better? Probably. But it's not gonna make you feel like any type of accomplish or anything else. Like, I used to feel guilty about feeling better at some point. Like,
okay.
like, oh, I spent the whole day and I did not think about you.
Yeah.
Like, are you mad or are you sad? Like, wherever you are, do you feel like that you're like disappointed or like something? Like, I used to feel bad about feeling good. I used to feel bad about having a good time.
Yeah.
So it's like, how do I tell how do I help you overcome grief? Is there even like a right way to like overcome grief? Is there even like a way to help someone overcome grief? So I told her, if you're sad or if you cry, wherever he is, he's going to be sad and he's going to cry too. So you don't want that. So you have to be like happy and complete. But then again, I'm just watching her like trying so hard to be happy, and I know that it's not coming from a genuine place.
Yes.
And I'm like, is that the right way? It's definitely not.
Yeah.
I'm probably like the worst person at giving advice about grief. Definitely. It's a complex situation, and I feel like every single time it's just different.
Yeah.
Because you never lose the same person twice.
Yeah.
And like the impact that the person has on you is definitely different every single time. So like, I don't know, how do you fix this?
So I'm a firm believer of adopting principles as the most powerful thing, and I like to always talk about, because I think of like, when I think of sadness and then when people try to be happy, I believe just everything needs a foundation. So I'm like, well, what's your foundation for sadness? Loss. That's why you can be sad. But what is your foundation for happiness? And so our foundation for happiness is built on attachment to things that we can't control and that have a clock. Typically, right? So then when it's taken away, it's like, well, there goes the happiness too.
Yeah.
I never said that out loud before, but that makes so much sense.
That definitely does make a lot of sense.
And so what I believe in is like instilling values and principles that serve what you want. So that's why I never say like I'm right or my way is right or this is the way. I always say, what do you want? It's like, well, I want to be happy. All right, cool. So here are some values that map to happiness. Gratitude. And there are levels to gratitude, right? Because you said that you have more of it. So it's like, then from that point, it's like, okay, I believe that gratitude plays a component in my day-to-day happiness. So I think you should go try and get some more gratitude. What are some other elements? Positive affirmation. That's the one that people usually go for, like reinforcing and saying positive things. I'm like, that's something, but the foundation for it isn't that strong. And that takes time because you're wiring to say, I'm happy, right? But there's still that other side. So then I like to, my favorite and most powerful, besides having powerful principles. So like, okay, before I get into that, I'm like, okay, well, if I feel like this, I can't serve people the way that I want. So I can't spend my whole life being sad. I have to try and be there for people who are happy. So that's a principle, right? So I would prefer to move more towards that attitude, so that so I have that purpose, right? So having a purpose that ties and supports that kind of behavior. So my favorite one is to look at the moment of impact that changed you and learn how to perceive it differently. So if you think losing someone is sad or losing someone meant all of these things, it's because you believe that, right? So it's learning how to see something differently. The event's still the same, but how your perception, if you can evolve that, then it's like, it's stuff with like forgiveness and all this different stuff, right? So, because it used to be one thing, But now you don't see it as like, oh, I'm angry and I'm pissed and I want to do this thing. Now it's like, I want to be happy, and that was a stupid thing at the time. We all make mistakes, right? You develop all these new principles, and so when you look at a past event, it doesn't bring up certain emotions anymore. So yeah, deconstructing in that sense and learning how to look at your past differently, I think, is the most powerful one, but the hardest one. But it kind of it gives you a map almost to be like, well, what are the principles that I need to adopt in order to see differently.
But that's like a totally like logical thinking.
That's me though.
We're talking about like fucking like emotional situation, like those kind of situations. Like you definitely are not up to thinking straight. Definitely not.
Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, like I'm the most logical person. Like
Yeah.
I like straight facts. I'm like mathematics and stuff like that. But when it comes to like emotional stuff, I'm just like no. I might know that 1 + 1 = 2, but if you ask me, I'm just gonna deny it.
Yeah.
I'm gonna deny the whole time.
Okay, yeah, I totally understand.
See
that.
if you get where I'm trying to go with this.
Yes.
So it's like those kind of situations where instead of like wanting to think about it logically, you just want to act like completely irrationally because of how much it hurts, I guess. Because the pain of losing someone that is really close to you is just like it's like one of those, it's like a wound, but not like a non-visible wound, if you get what I mean. It hurts, but like you don't know where. That's like the part that sucks the most, because you are in pain. You know that you're in pain, but you cannot pinpoint exactly where it is hurting.
Yeah.
Because I do remember like crying and like having like a pain somewhere, but you're like, it hurts, but I cannot say where it hurts.
Yeah.
It's just, I think that was the time when I understood why people cut themselves.
Yeah.
Because it's like you're feeling pain, but you have no idea where the pain is. But if you had a cut, it will make sense. You could actually see the pain, feel the wound, and all that stuff. But don't cut yourself, guys. It's bad. It is that kind of situation. It's just like doesn't make any sense. It's just everything doesn't make any sense. It just hurts, but you don't know where it hurts. So you don't want to think logically. You don't want to act logically.
Yeah.
Just want to do stupid stuff.
So that makes sense. And so my thing to that, I believe, I guess, is just to be emotionally attached to the logical side of what I just said, and to embody it emotionally, versus being like, well, this is this way.
I mean,
because for me, going through emotional times when like the loss of like my dad and stuff, and just kind of navigating and being in that space, and then having so much of that kind of like wave over me and my brother like every day, it's like, for me it was, all I remember is, I always say like the first thing I remember is BTS, the second thing is Melon Martinez. So I was listening to those two artists like all the time. Don't really remember much. And then watching a lot of BTS random collage shit on YouTube. Like that's all we did. Like we would like come home and then lay in bed and just watch BTS videos. And it was just like, I don't know why, but it was cool.
BTS was the shit.
So BTS kind of like helped a lot in that sense. Kind of, it kept like it. BTS made me and my brother like want to work hard. But they also had shed light on like the different aspects of life. Obviously you listen to their music, so so it got us going creatively. It hit us emotionally, and just wanting to be better and to be strong. So like it wasn't just logic for me there, where it was like I still had the same principles and beliefs, but the emotions were still there, and so I was emotionally faithful to my beliefs instead of just it's math and science and it's facts, right? So I think that I've never said that before, because when you said that I was like, oh shit, you're right. But then I was like, no, it can be emotional if you are emotional. The same way we are emotional with people, we can be emotional to a belief. That's why people get angry or upset about certain religions or politics, whatever, because they're so emotionally drawn to that. So I think that helps a lot. And then because it channels differently. Like if I'm dealing with something, it's like, see, so for me and my brother, it's creative, it's ambitious. But for some people, it's like they just destroy shit or they destroy themselves. But I also believe it's like, what have we been doing all this time? Our principles have been to better ourselves and self-love and direction. But if that's not what it's been like for someone else, where like, and I can, an example, not an extreme example, but like my cousin, who's not here at the moment, she, I believe, has always been dependent on someone emotionally. And she never really carved out something for herself. She's a nurturer, so she just loves to make people feel great. And she never knew what the price was until later, you know? And then when she breaks up or something goes really bad, it's like she's a fucking mess. Or, you know, with her not current relationship, but like when she was dating Tony, and then like to see her be like a mess essentially, and just know, it's like, it's because she's been that person her whole life, versus someone who has a sense of self already, and she knows that she doesn't completely, and not anyone has it completely, but it's just lacking, and she knows it. So she doesn't spiral into, I'm gonna work my ass off or that. It's just, I don't know what to do with myself, right? So yeah, I think it depends on your foundation as an individual when those moments of time come. The same way that you kind of like death is normal to you, I accepted death for myself a long time ago. So then when I see death, I'm not necessarily immediately sad about it from an objective spiritual standpoint. I'm like, it's kind of just how it is. And hopefully I do my best to tell anyone and what I need to tell them while I'm still here. And but then I remember being hopeful, like with my dad and stuff. Like I'm like, Mom, like, cause she's sad, right? And I'm like he's still here. Like it's not the same physically, and it's like he was suffering. It's like we don't want him to go through those things, and like his energy's still here, and I could feel it. It's like it's a real thing, and he's still communicating. I'm like, no one ever really dies, right? So that's where I've gotten to, and so I'm comfortable. Whereas a place where like my mom, it's like she always has been denying death. She doesn't believe in that stuff. She hates when someone says, don't say that. Like when I'm like, no, Mom, I could just die like tomorrow, right? Certain people, if you ever say this to people, where
my mom does
someone's
not
either gonna deny
shut
it
the fuck up,
or someone's gonna be like if you talk about that to me, I'll be like, cool, Justin, cool. But if certain people are like, don't say that, they're the ones that deny it. So when it comes, it hits them the hardest. It hits them the hardest. And the way that they live and they map their behavior is like that. They deny that death is a thing. Whereas the ones who believe in it, obviously, and who are 100% like, yeah, it's going to come someday, you'll see that the core of how they move through life is so different, you know?
But it's a process though. Like,
Of course.
I feel like for me, it just comes from like experience.
Yeah.
Like a bunch of experience. But it definitely is a process, like come to that, I won't say space, but like that mindset where you're not like afraid of it anymore.
Yeah.
When you understand that, okay, it's like normal. It's like a rite of passage, and you just have to go through it. Either way, that doesn't stop it from hurting, like being shocking, because the idea of not being able to like see or touch someone that you've seen and touched like your whole life is just like,
it's pretty weird.
It's definitely
is
weird, and
I imagine it sometimes, and I fucking hate it. Cause
I definitely do not like that feeling.
No, yeah, dude, like the most painful, and I'm gonna get to these comments because I know Carla's saying that shit. I'll imagine certain people in my life, and I'm like, if I feel like I'm taking them for granted, and I'm like, this motherfucker could just not show up at my house anymore, and I'm like, that's pretty sad. Or like I was thinking about, I remember I'll say this to my brother. We've said it to him like a few times. I was like, dude, I can't imagine if you were dead.
Oh my god.
Yeah. I mean, like for me, it's like because he's always been around,
Yeah.
and so I feel like maybe there's some level of taking for granted, right?
Mhm.
Easily.
Definitely.
So the moment that like no, like he ain't coming back, it's just you, and I'm just like that's pretty dark, and but that's a real scenario that could play out, and that's really sad to think about. So yeah, I think ultimately there will always be a pain. I just think that it's okay. It's different for everybody, and whatever your beliefs and like your systems are for navigating through that kind of stuff, it just depends. So as long as I believe gratitude and maximizing time and knowing that you did your best for that person and all these other elements, and then even having a peace of mind of like, oh, he's still here, like that stuff kind of helps and whatever, and then having that tied to the purpose of like I'm still gonna work my ass off for this person, you know. So it's so dark. Yeah, I think it helps. I think it helps balance the happiness to sadness scale. Because without all that shit, you're just fucking mess.
Yeah,
You're done.
definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, I remember from like my brother to like my dog that died like a month ago. Okay, that's a terrible analogy. Jesus.
Okay, think
Did I
about
just
it,
talk about?
and then I'm gonna read what all the stuff she said. Eternal version. Yeah, I need to look up what AHS season 3 is because I have no idea what that is. Honestly, I feel like I haven't experienced much pain or grief, and I'm not sure if it's because I'm naturally stronger or I just haven't experienced something to shake me that much. Yeah, you definitely haven't experienced anything to shake you that much. I have no idea how I would deal with death. What do you guys think? It's like you're releasing something. I never thought of that, but makes a lot of sense, Toby. Sad face. I'm pretty sure she made a sad face after I talked about losing someone. I think about how no one in our friend group has like died,
Yeah.
and
That's cool.
and I'm like, I'm so grateful.
That's
but
cool. That's cool. Please stay alive.
so I think about how like I can't imagine what would happen if someone did.
Oh my god. No.
But okay, the reason why I think about these things is also like mental
Prep.
fortitude and prep. That's just me.
Yep.
Because I believe in
I'm
all that stuff.
I don't know if I would say like that's a belief in all that stuff. I'm like the worst scenario type of person. Like if we're doing this, like I'm going to like think about what's the worst thing that could happen is, and then I'm going to prep myself for the worst.
Yeah.
I'm always that kind of person.
Mm-hmm.
If people, you can call me pessimistic or like whatever, but I'm like, that's like my thought process in everything that I do. Okay, so like I take a plane today. If the plane crashes, like what is going to happen? That's always how I do. So I'm like, okay, if I take the plane today and like the plane crashes and I die, like how did I even prep my parents like properly? Did I say goodbye the right way? Did I give them what it is that I need to give them the right way? Did I like have a will? Did I have like all that kind of? I am that type of person, and I do it all the time.
Oh my god.
I know. I walk around with a screwdriver in my pocket, just in case someone like tries to rob me, so I can just stab them to death. I'm that type of person. I always think about the worst case scenario. Then again, it makes sense. It's just like part of my experience. I feel like the worst always happened to me. So I feel like I just have to be prepared for the worst every single time. That's like my thought process. But when I was saying, like, thinking from like my first experience with grief, for like how my brother died to like how my dog died, which is absolutely weird because a person, and it doesn't matter. I love my dog too. It's just like the process of going through it was just totally like different because I feel like I have grown so much in like the way I handle my pain, and like my suffering. Like for when my brother died, like I could not like. It was a terrible moment literally, like, I was so sad. I stopped eating. I went to coma for like a couple of weeks before. I'd still come to a point where I wasn't even in denial, like not even like admitting that it happened. It was like and that's the doctor called it, like intentional amnesia.
Okay.
Like
I see.
making sure, like denying the fact that it happened. And even my parents played the game for like the longest time, like, oh, it didn't happen for the longest time.
God, that's
So
scary.
it was like that. I was so sad when I found out. And I felt everybody was just like catering to me to like help me go through it and all that stuff. I remember my that was when I got my first cell phone. I fucking hated that shit. Every single time I saw that phone, I was like, "You fucking piece of shit." It felt like it was like a trade for like it was my happiness or like my sadness, whatever. It was just like, you get this phone, but you stop being sad. I hated that shit. It was like that process. It was really like dark and twisty. I feel like that's when I turned dark and twisty completely. I was just like detached, not like liking anything, liking anybody. I just became like a completely different person. Everything I like was dark. I still do like dark stuff. I'm into that. I feel like it just shaped me. Completely. So it's just like dark and twisty stuff. Like that was my experience. That was like the result of that, I think. But after that, like I encountered like a lot of at some point I told you I thought that I was cursed, that it was me. I was like the dark element, like the one that was making other people die. Because I remember I was in the hospital when I was sick, so I was stuck in the hospital. I met this dude in like the hallway. He was like in the hospital too. And he was like one of those people that you meet and like everything just click. It's like, oh, we were meant to like know each other. I feel like we've been friends for like the longest time, because like we had like similar tastes and like we could relate. It was just like instant connection for like that. It was like mind blowing. I met him like that day. The next day he died. I was like, that's it. I'm cursed. I'm never making friends again. Like, not happening again.
Okay.
So it's just like I really like how do you say it? A collection of like really depressing experiences that just like I don't know, shaped my way, the way I see life and death anymore. It's just like it's gonna I feel like I don't know. I just lost my train of thought. Now that I think about it, it's just like a sad thing.
Yeah. And we're just talking about like pain and how to navigate.
Yes, so it's just like it's all that started like shaping the way I deal with pain. Like I'll listen to like sad music when I feel sad and like cry. Yeah. And then the next day I'll like, okay, I'm perfectly fine now. Let's go on and like be like a really like happy and like complete person. Yeah. And then I come back home and I'm like sad. So it's like with every situation, like how I dealt with it was like totally like unique in itself. For example, like it's been like around 10 years now that my brother died. Yeah. Ish. So like every single year I would like repeat like stuff that we did before. Like because we were too young, we were not allowed to watch Samurai Champloo.
Mm.
So we like sneak at night and like turn on the TV and like lower the volume and like stuff like that to watch Samurai Champloo.
Yeah.
So like every single time I would just like rewatch Samurai Champloo like at the same period of every single year.
Mm.
Like I've watched that show like so many times. I probably know the dialogue by heart by now. So it's like
Wow.
all like little rituals
Yeah.
to like make myself like make sure that all of it is still like part of me and part of like my life, because I feel like the fear the fear itself with like death and like people that died is that you're afraid that I think personally it was more that I was afraid that the memory and like the person they are was just going to vanish from my life. It was like, okay, he's dead, but I don't want him to be like completely gone. Because I was fucking young, and like at some days I'm like, I close my eyes and I'm like, I cannot remember what your face looked like. And I just start panicking. I'm like, why don't I remember what your face looks like? And I just, if you get what I mean. So I just try my best to make sure like whatever it is about that person, whatever is still present in my daily life. I think that's how I cope the best with grief. Ritual.
People do rituals. Okay. I'm pro ritual.
I am pro ritual too. Sacrifice anything you want, except virgins. Yeah.
I know it's time-ish. I'm gonna check in on Jeffrey, and I was gonna say something. Let's see. Well, what I was gonna say, I mean, I've said this before. I don't know if I've said it on the record or if I might have said it to you. I mean, I just said BTS coping, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, when I think of BTS, I think of my dad. And I know that my brother's the same way. And I remember talking to my psychic. I went to see him once. You can see him, have a fun experience. And he had... oh, he's on standby. Okay. What's crazy is he had talked about talked with my family. So he talked about my mom, my brother, and Leah, right? So he was saying like, so who's this girl? Like, her first letter is like an L. And I was like, it's probably Leah, right? Because there was a time period where he was gonna, go to school, or he had already left. I forget, but he was saying how like my mom is excited to have her, is more excited to like build a connection with her, and it's kind of helping alleviate the whole my brother leaving thing. And then he had also talked about how your dad is still like pulling strings. So he was saying like how essentially, and this was like an educated guess on his end, that he feels like our dad brought Leah into our life in the way that that he has. So like they bond over BTS and K-pop in general, and they've just helped each other out and whatnot. So they're great. My mom really enjoys her, and so much so that like I remember there was a point where they were talking like, if Leah was in a position to, like whether it's like an of age thing or whatever, like my mom would be totally cool with her living here. And I was like, I've asked for every single one of my friends and she's denied every single one of them. And I'm like, and then this girl just comes out of nowhere and she's just open to it. And I'm like, that. So for him to kind of piece it together and be like Leah is an important component to this family, and the purpose that she's serving is really high, and it's like because of my dad and whatnot. I'm like, that's pretty weird. And then I always go back to how Leah even came to to our life, and the chance was like slim in the sense of, so she had met my cousins because she was working at H Mart at the K-pop stand. And just specifically that day, like she was cool with, you know, leaving work, and because usually I believe she just like gets picked up and gets brought home. So her family, her mom and dad, are not like the most
Open. Like,
yeah, right. So like obviously when you pick up your kid, that's it, it's kind of over. But she happened to be in some type of mood, and you know, meets these two, and is like, yeah, sure, I'll go with you, even though I just met you, to like hang out or eat or whatever. And then there was no places open to eat, and then they're like, yo, what are you guys doing? And they came over to my house, and then we played Unstable Unicorns, we met. And then after they all left, me and my brother were like, that girl seems pretty cool. Like, she's different. We both agreed that her vibe was interesting, was different. And lo and behold, they end up being a couple. And, like, she, my two cousins got in trouble because they shouldn't have taken her out as late as they should have. Because she didn't come home at a good time. And she also came to Lowell, and her parents don't like the fact that she came to Lowell. So just like all those things that shouldn't have happened under the parents' watch and stuff, to then just have that moment of those two meeting, ridiculous to me.
Destiny is a weird thing.
And she she's emotionally traumatized, and there's so many things that have happened to her, and so like she was just like this, like living in this kind of world, and like not wanting to touch people and like friends, and then like all that, like you just imagine like when you can, maybe not necessarily like what you've gone through, but just not having a good outlook on the world at all, right? To then being even suspect of everything. And then for us, when I say us, I mean like specifically me and my brother, and then my brother kind of just took over because of the whole romance and whatnot, to just being open to the fact that there are cool people that exist and that we're willing to help and all that kind of stuff, right? So she's a great story. So that was like a miracle. Pretty dope. Yeah. Because we're healthy. I mean, no, when she's talking about death, we'd be surprised, Carla, how much the death has kind of floated around our friend group. I am like not even joking. You think everyone's healthy.
That's true.
I'm kind of like the key, so I have a really good idea of what's going on with everyone internally.
So true.
Yeah, that's why like at the convention, I was just like, I was taken back again. I was just like, fuck, you know, it bothers me that, or it reminds me that I need to keep working. Bless you, because even people close to me deal with adversity like that. So. But I'm more like accidents, like someone fucking dies in an accident, you know, so. That's the
worst way to die.
That's annoying. It's an annoying way to die.
It's definitely not a good way to die. You know how I would like to die? If I did die, I would like to die like, like I would like to die like my grandmother, because she knew that she was dying.
Okay.
But it was like a fucking like process for her, and like all like prepping her children for like how they're had to like behave after she's gone and all that stuff, like creating like unity and like love and like whatever. That's like interesting way to go. I would love to go that way. Like being aware that you're going and like having like the time to like plan everything for you after. That would be awesome.
That's such a strange concept. I think I'm gonna do that one day.
Like what?
Not intentionally die, but
like plan everything.
Plan something because I'm leaving. I've never done that.
Oh really?
Be like, you know what? I'm walking away, and like here I'm gonna prep everything, and be like, see you again one day.
Like I've asked people to write eulogies for me before. I'm like that type of person. I've been obsessed with that for like the longest time.
Jeffrey, can you message me on Discord? guy.
Really? Is he coming here?
No. We're gonna.
Shit, I haven't seen Daddy in a while.
I'm probably just gonna do it here. Oh, did he message me? You get it?
Wait, what?
Oh, he did. Okay. All right. Do you have any final words? And are you gonna bounce after, or are you just gonna?
Probably just gonna hang.
Okay.
I'm hungry. I need to see. It's so fucking cold out there.
I think we have fun upstairs.
Mm.
And if my brother is up there, you can just.
And you what?
Where'd it go?
I'm going to go to Leah's house.
Oh.
Speaking of.
What the heck? Okay. Well, yeah, if you want pho, if you want to like help him,
Yeah, I can
so it's not weird for him.
Yeah.
I don't know if you want to eat pho, but it's an option upstairs.
Wait, do you know what pho is?
I know what fries.
Oh,
It's okay.
I'm sorry.
Don't be.
Do you want some? I can
Yeah.
give you some.
Thanks.
Okay. So how much noodles do you want? Show me in hand form.
Like a restaurant, like small, medium, large.
Okay. And do you want all the meats?
I don't know mine.
I'm gonna go with you because I need to stretch. I'm feeling the zombie.
Yeah.
Wait, what'd you say? You don't mind? Or?
Nope.
Okay. Oh, hello.
Hi.
I'll let you know when it's
It's also
done.
my cousin.
Hi, cousin number 2.
Hello.
Okay.
Can you stop introducing people as like your cousin? Like she has a name.
Regina.
I'm Monica.
Yeah, I know the Monica.
Oh, you do?
Yeah.
Oh, hello.
Hi. Hi.
Yeah, it's Regina. Okay, cool. Alright, I'm gonna try something different. So, do you have any final?
Peace out, bitches.
Okay.